Success grows quietly. When you move without announcing it, your efforts gather power. You work, you practice, you adjust without the need for applause or validation. Over time, your results begin to speak. Friends notice strength in your confidence. Colleagues see progress you didn't broadcast. That quiet determination speaks louder than any announcement ever could. When you move in silence, you protect yourself from doubt and external pressure. You spare yourself from navigating others' expectations. People don't need to know your every step, they just see where you end up. That's how real influence is built, not from talk, but from doing the work and letting it show. There's a deep inner calm that comes from working behind the scenes. You feel less exposed, less vulnerable. You know that your efforts are for you, not for scrutiny. That level of self-respect changes your mindset. It changes how you treat your craft. It changes how you respond to setbacks. Because you're not performing for an audience, you're committed to a process. That calm, that confidence becomes a magnet for real opportunity. Doors open because people sense something solid happening beneath the surface. Suddenly offers arrive, partnerships form, and respect comes not because you told them you were working hard, but because your work proved it. This path isn't easy. It takes patience and trust in your own process. You'll face moments when no one seems to notice. You'll feel unseen, but those are the moments that count the most. You keep going because your vision matters more than recognition. You work because becoming is more important than being seen. Move in silence, work with purpose, let your results speak. Part 1, move in silence. Let your results speak. Every person you know who has created something impressive didn't shout about it from the start. They quietly worked day in and day out, painting, writing, coding, building relationships, learning. They early on made the decision to hold their plans close and let the outcome show itself in time. Because the world listens to actions, not announcements. When you're focused on making real progress, showing off becomes a distraction. You use that energy to grow stronger instead. In the mornings when the house is still, when the coffee's too hot to stand over, you open your work. Every question is treated with patience. Every failure is examined before you close your notebook. You don't tell half the story because you know it's not ready to be told, but you're already building it. Layer by layer, each day brings another piece, another draft, another test, another call. You don't brag, you refine. One reason to stay quiet is to avoid pressure. When you talk about what you're planning before it's strong, suddenly you've set expectations you can't control. And if it falters, people remember what wasn't delivered. Silence protects your focus, your freedom to pivot quietly, and your peace of mind. You're not building for applause, you're building to solve a problem you care about. That's a powerful shift in mindset, where your work becomes your message. That kind of discipline feels different. It's not always inspiring or shiny. It's early mornings and late nights alone with your goals. You feel tension at times, your mind asking why you're investing all this time in something nobody knows you're doing. That tension means you're digging deeper. It means you're outgrowing small definitions of yourself. You're pushing past comfort zones. That's what growth feels like. And eventually someone notices. A colleague walks over and says, "I see progress in your voice." A family member listens differently. A friend asks, "What changed with you?" That's when results speak. Quietly, without fanfare, your level has shifted. They don't need to ask what you do, you just do it. Moving in silence builds character. It teaches you to value impact over image. It clears your mind from chasing likes or applause. It helps you tune into your internal compass, not external noise. And that internal compass, your values, your standards, your integrity, that becomes your driver, not applause, not opinion, just your own belief in who you want to become. That way, when you speak about your work, you do it from ownership, not validation. You respond to questions instead of seeking them. You share once it's strong, once it's ready. You speak with confidence because the work backs you. That's powerful. That's respect grabbing. That's influence earned, not borrowed. Moving in silence isn't isolation. It's intentional presence. It means you spend your energy wisely, you stay clear of the noise that derails everyday dreams, you guard your time from distraction and drama. You create space where your mind can sharpen, where your craft can deepen, where your focus can magnify. When the time is right, your message lands with clarity. People listen because they sense depth, not because you told them to. That's how movements start. Not with a big launch, but with disciplined practice that becomes undeniable results. You're not chasing followers. You're building followers, not because you're loud, but because you're authentic. Not because you're everywhere, but because when you show, you're ready. So keep working quietly. Keep refining. Keep proving you can finish what you begin. And when it's time to share, do it from a place of strength. Do it from a place of results. Do it from a place that says, without saying, I did the work. That's real power, that's real respect, that's real impact. Part 2, people judge what they don't understand. When you move quietly, people often don't get it. They look at your actions and struggle to fit them into their usual boxes. That discomfort makes them judge. It isn't because they're mean, it's because your progress doesn't match their experience. And when people react from their experience, not your reality, they can't see the work, only the silence. Imagine someone watching you ignore the noise around you. They expect to hear about your plans, but instead it's just calm focus. To them, that silence feels odd. And when something feels odd, they put a label on it. You become mysterious. You become secretive. Or they assume you're not doing anything at all. But none of that matters, because what matters happens inside your process, not in other people's assumptions. People judge to protect their own comfort. It's easier to say you're hiding something or you're not doing enough than face the idea that someone is working in ways they don't recognize. That discomfort triggers doubt in their minds. In that moment, they react. They share opinions based on their perspective, not yours. You might hear criticism or confusion when you share less and accomplish more. But this judgment isn't a signal to stop. It's a signal that you're doing things differently. It means you're moving beyond the paths they know. Judgment is not always rejection. It's often the sound of growth creating distance. And that distance puts two choices in front of you. Shrink back to fit their expectations or stand strong in your own path. Growth demands courage. It demands clarity. It demands staying loyal to your direction even when fewer people understand you. That hasn't made you arrogant, it's made you deliberate. And when people misjudge, it gives you a moment to affirm your values, to say, I'm working quietly because I respect the journey. You don't have to argue, you don't have to explain, you just stay focused. When outsiders judge what they see, you can choose to respond or not. You can respond with anger, but that gives away your power. You can respond with clarity, but only if your work backs it up. You can respond by staying silent and letting history be your strongest statement. That last option takes strength. It takes faith in what you're becoming, and it builds respect in the strongest possible way. It's also a lesson in empathy. You've been in the audience before. You've been the person who heard about progress without seeing it. You understand mistrust. That empathy helps you operate with patience. You don't feel the need to prove yourself to everyone, because you know not everyone will ever see your process. But that's okay, because you're building it anyway. When judgment comes, it offers perspective. It reminds you that success is often a lonely road in the beginning. It reminds you that not everyone is meant to travel with you, and that some people need to learn to see results before they believe. Knowing this, you become intentional about where you invest your energy. You choose calm over chaos, even when others see silence as weakness. And that silence, it's not emptiness. It's a sign of depth. It's the soil where focus, time, effort, and resilience grow into something real. When judgment knocks, you don't press play on your silence to fit their expectations. You stay silent because your work is louder than words. If someone judges your process, that's their issue, not yours. Your job is to build, to stay at work, to handle what's in front of you, and to let your results eventually change their minds. Not because you had to convince them, but because your work spoke clearly enough to rewrite the conversation. Judgment may follow silence, but silence backed by results transforms it into respect. And that respect becomes the truest kind, earned by integrity, clarity, and action rather than performance or attention. That's influence rooted in real substance, not just sound. When you stop waiting for approval, you free yourself to focus. When you keep moving, even as people judge what they don't understand, you begin to attract the right attention. Not the people who want to talk, but the people who want to work. Not the praise that's shallow, but the respect that stays even when success fades. Stay strong, stay clear, stay focused. People will judge what they don't understand, but your job is not to soften your edges. Your job is to sharpen your purpose. And when your work becomes undeniable, the silence stops being suspicious, it becomes powerful, and that is where true influence begins. Part 3. Protect your energy from unnecessary opinions. It's easy to forget how powerful our energy is. What you allow into your mind can either lift you up or drag you down. And when you're working quietly on your goals, the opinions around you can become distraction. They don't just confuse you, they plant seeds of doubt and take hold of your focus inch by inch. Protecting your energy isn't just a choice, it's essential to staying clear and moving forward. Every day you hear voices, some critical, some well-meaning, some unintentionally draining. A friend wonders why you're not out there more. A family member questions why you're so private. A colleague suggests you're not serious because you're not sharing updates. None of that matters. None of it builds you up. But every bit of it takes away a slice of your clarity, drop by drop. And before you know it, your heart gets heavy, your thinking slows, and you start caring more about opinions than your path. Protecting your energy starts with asking, does this serve me? Not in the moment, but in the long run. Does this conversation give you insight or just take your focus? Does this interaction challenge you or just confuse you? When you answer honestly, you'll notice that some voices reduce you. They don't add anything. So you begin to filter. You begin to limit time. People who say more than they listen. You step back from emails and messages that pull you away from what's important. You stop scrolling through social feeds filled with noise and opinion. Instead, you invest your attention in moments that make you stronger. There's a discipline in this. You're saying no to short-term comfort. You're saying no to being nice or popular. You're saying no to drama. But when you do, you're saying yes to clarity, yes to focus, yes to results. You're protecting your heart, your vision, your effort. You're creating space where only voices that matter can reach you. Your own, your mentors, your coaches, voices that fuel you instead of draining you. Often we feel guilty for protecting our energy. We feel obligated to explain. We worry about what others will think. But peace comes when you understand that your energy is one precious resource you must control. When you do, your mind becomes a calm place. Your work gets sharper. Your life becomes lighter. And the truth is that people respect boundaries more than they respect noise. Quiet control doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear. When you say no to unnecessary opinions, you're not closing doors, you're opening more space for growth. You're showing the world that your focus is real, your intentions are serious, and your energy is not up for grabs. When energy is protected, results flow. Your work gets deeper. Solutions come faster. Mistakes shrink. Problems feel smaller. That happens because your attention has a stronger foundation. It's not scattered. It's not bending to confusion. It's disciplined. It's sharp. And it's unwavering. Protecting your energy doesn't mean avoiding everything. It means evaluating. It means preserving yourself so you can give fully when it matters. The world doesn't need you to respond to every critique. It doesn't need you to explain every decision. It needs your clarity, your results, your integrity. You can't give that if you're drained. So slow down. Listen to your energy. Notice what drains it and what renews it. Then choose accordingly. If a conversation pulls you off your track, end it respectfully. If a message stirs doubt in your mind, mute it. If a relationship consistently leans negative, consider stepping back. You don't do this because you don't care. You do it because you respect what you're building. You know how fragile focus can be. And you're not going to let other people's noise be louder than your inner clarity. In time, when people ask how you get so calm, so steady, so consistent, your answer won't need words. It will be that you valued your energy like it mattered. And it did. That focus will lead others, influence others, and guide others, not because you shouted, but because you stood firm. That is the power of protecting your energy from unnecessary opinions. Part 4, talking too much weakens your power. The more you say, the more you give away. Not just words, but clarity, control, and direction. People who talk too much often feel a sense of release, like they've just unloaded a weight. But in reality, they've handed over something far more valuable: privacy, momentum, and their own sense of power. When you speak before you act, you give others the chance to interfere, interrupt, judge, or distract, and that changes your rhythm. When you keep sharing what you're working on, you start noticing more opinions than results. Everyone wants to add their input. Everyone has a suggestion, a warning, or a doubt to throw in. And while some advice is useful, most of it isn't built for your path. It's built from their lens, their fears, their past. And it starts to twist your thoughts, steal your motivation, and shift your focus from action to approval. That's when your progress gets hijacked. There's strength in holding your plans close. When you're quiet, you're free to change directions without explaining yourself. You're free to grow without defending your pace. You're free to fail without being watched. And when you do succeed, it hits different because it wasn't talked about, it was done. Quiet wins leave no trail of noise, they just leave impact. You see, when people know every move you're making, they feel involved in your journey. And when they feel involved, they think they can influence it. They ask questions, they make suggestions, they assume, and before long, your goal doesn't even feel like it's yours anymore. It feels like it's shared with people who aren't doing any of the work. That's a dangerous place to be. Talking too much also leads to false rewards. You mention your goals and someone claps for you. They praise your ambition. They admire your vision. That praise feels good, but it's empty. It didn't come from results. It came from potential. So what happens? You feel satisfied before you even start. The fire gets smaller. The hunger fades, and the work, the real hard daily work, gets delayed. You're not doing this to get pats on the back. You're doing it to change your life, to reach a level that most never will. That doesn't require announcements. That requires discipline. Power grows in the background. It grows in the unseen hours. It grows in the dark before the lights ever come on. And when it's real, people don't need to be told. They feel it when you walk in. They see it in your eyes. They hear it in your voice. That's power, even in relationships. Be mindful of oversharing. Not everyone close to you needs to know every detail. Some people love you but still carry limiting beliefs. They won't mean to discourage you, but they will. They'll ask the wrong questions, plant small doubts, and talk to you from their fears instead of your vision. That can shake your confidence if you're not solid yet. Silence protects your process. And in business, the less you explain, the more people wonder. That mystery is powerful. When people don't know your next move, they can't block it. When they don't know your resources, they can't compete with them. When they don't know your ideas, they can't water them down. You're not being secretive, you're being strategic. Because you know how much your vision matters, and you won't let noise blur the path. Also, consider this. Every time you talk too much, you give others a blueprint to copy. Some will support you, but some will try to beat you using your own map. And then you've not only shared your direction, you've built their momentum instead of your own. That's a mistake you only make once. After that, you learn progress speaks louder than promises. Results hold more weight than reassurance. You don't need to convince the world you're working, just work. You don't need to update everyone on your plans, just execute. You don't need to broadcast your mindset, just move. The right people will notice. The right people will feel it. The right people will support it. Not because you explained it, but because you lived it. You earn respect in silence. You grow influence in quiet work. You build credibility with results, not noise. And the most powerful part, you don't need to prove anything. When you really understand your path, talking becomes less important because you're not doing it for validation. You're doing it for transformation. And that kind of success doesn't need to be explained. It needs to be earned. Part 5, master the art of quiet progress. Progress doesn't need to scream. It doesn't need to announce itself. And it certainly doesn't need a crowd watching every step. The strongest growth, the kind that reshapes your future, happens when no one's looking, when the camera's off, when the audience is gone, when you're alone and it's just you and your effort. Quiet progress is how you build a life that speaks without you having to say a word. Most people think progress needs to be visible. They want to show their updates, highlight their wins, post their moves. But what they don't understand is that the deeper your progress, the more personal it becomes. It's not about proving it. It's about becoming it. And becoming something powerful doesn't happen with noise. It happens with discipline, consistency, and focus behind the scenes. When you work quietly, you stay in control. You're not swayed by opinions. You're not performing for anyone. You're not adjusting your pace to impress others. You move with clarity because you're only focused on one thing, getting better. Quiet progress lets you make mistakes without shame. It gives you space to change, improve, adjust. There's freedom in not being watched. You're not boxed in by past declarations. You can pivot, grow, and evolve without judgment. And the truth is, nobody really understands your vision like you do. So why let them shape it? Every time you talk too early, you open the door for others to question something they haven't earned the right to question. They haven't lived your story. They haven't carried your dreams. They haven't done your work. So their input, even when well-meaning, often dilutes the very fire you're trying to build. Real progress isn't measured by how loud you are. It's measured by how solid you become. That happens in quiet mornings, where you're up before the world starts moving. It happens in long nights, where you push through when no one is clapping. It happens in the small decisions, choosing study over scrolling, choosing silence over gossip, choosing work over talk. These moments, though invisible, are the ones that build your future. Quiet progress is also peaceful. It doesn't come with pressure to prove. It's not about feeding an audience. It's about building a structure strong enough to carry your dreams. When you move in silence, you protect your energy. You conserve your drive. You don't waste it on explanations, justifications, or updates. All your fuel goes into motion. That's how you gain speed, depth, and strength. People might not notice your progress at first, and that's okay. You're not doing it for applause. You're doing it to transform your life. And one day, when it all starts to come together, when your health improves, your income grows, your confidence builds, your lifestyle elevates, they'll notice, but by then, you won't need their approval. You'll already know who you are and what you're capable of. You don't have to talk about your plans. Your results will tell the story. You don't have to explain your discipline. Your growth will explain it for you. You don't have to prove you're working hard. The life you're building will be the proof. Quiet progress creates loud results, not with noise, but with undeniable evidence. Understand this, silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. Silence often means everything is happening on the inside. That's where the real work takes place, in your mindset, in your habits, in your decisions. You're reshaping yourself from the ground up, and that kind of transformation is sacred. It doesn't need an audience. It needs your full attention. So keep working, keep learning, keep building, keep improving in your own space, on your own time. The world doesn't need to know what you're doing until it's done. And when it is, when the success shows up, you won't need to explain a thing. People will see it, they'll feel it, and most importantly, you'll know it's real. Because you built it quietly, steadily, and on your own terms. If you want your life to be powerful, don't rush to tell the world who you are. Show them through what you've built. Quiet progress may take longer to notice, but once it's seen, it can't be denied. That's how real success is made. Keep building quietly, keep growing in silence. Let your actions be your proof and your success be your voice. You don't need to explain yourself, just keep showing up and one day they'll understand.